This episode is sponsored by The Break Room, downtown's best spot for a hot lunch every business day.
On this episode, Vince Frye and Kansas Avenue, comedian Steve Moser, actor, director, and writer Karen Hastings, Renaissance man The Gypsy, and Unitarian Universalist Church pastor Rev Sarah Oglesby Dunegan.
Well, welcome to Talk About Topeka, and in this studio we have Vince Frye from DTI. Vince, how are we doing?
Doing great, thanks.
Great. Well, we're glad to have you here. Of course, we've got a lot of stuff happening downtown for the holidays.
We do.
First and foremost, the big thing is the streets are open.
They are open. We're excited about that. You know, the city's been very adamant that they would have it all finished by Thanksgiving, and indeed they did. So you can drive up and down Kansas Avenue going north and south with no problem. You can park, along any of the businesses right out in front. And so we're excited to have it open in time for Christmas.
Now,
Absolutely.
we say that the streets are actually clear and they're open.
Mm-hmm.
The project is not done. Tell us a little bit about when they're going to start up again and what kind of...
Okay, well, the first phase is complete, and that's the east side of Kansas Avenue between 6th and 10th Street. Starting next spring, when the weather cooperates, they will then move to the west side and finish that up. The private sector, who has raised $2.7 million to do the enhancements to what the city's doing, will then follow the city's effort and just start putting in the enhancements right behind what is being done by the city. So by this time next year, it will all be done, and it will look completely different, and it will be pretty exciting.
Well, in the studio with us right now is Steve Moser from So You Think You're Funny. Do you think you're funny, Steve?
Yeah, do you?
Yes.
Yes? All right, that's a good answer, and
Well,
we're done.
I have seen Steve perform, and yes, I will back it up. You've got something to go on there. Steve, how you doing, man?
Not right now, though.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
You're okay.
Good.
You're good. Now, you just moved here from Lawrence. You're in the process.
Three-fourths moved, yeah.
Yeah.
One more carload.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Good deal. Yeah. So how long have you been involved in So You Think You're Funny?
It's been a
When did I
long
start
time,
there?
right?
2011, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something like that. Is that something right?
Yeah,
So
that
then-
sounds about
I
right.
started doing comedy in 2010. My friend Brad Metzger started a little bit after me. And then he'd been doing it a while, and then he called me about it. Or he won the contest, so he got to be the main guy, but he needed like a 20-minute guy to be the feature for him. So I came. I think that was in 11, wasn't it?
I think that's about right, yeah.
Maybe.
Okay, so why would he ask you? Did he really just think you were funny?
Well, we
you were
went to high
fun
school
when
together.
you...
We went to high school together.
Okay.
Yep.
And so you just decided you were going to put together a plan.
What do you mean?
Well, a plan when you're going on stage? Like, I mean...
In 2010, when I started?
Yeah.
Some people kept bugging me about doing it, and I kept not doing it because it seemed like it'd be difficult to be funny in front of strangers. But then after a while, I was like, well, what the heck, I'll just give it a try, you know? And so I gave it a try, and I was about average at first, so I kept doing it and kept getting better gradually.
Of course,
It's a fun hobby.
This has been something that's been going on for quite a while. The first Friday of every month at the Break Room in downtown. It starts at 8 o'clock. You got a lineup of folks that perform,
Yep.
and then they'll even open the mic up afterwards for folks who want to get up on stage and try it out, for stand up afterwards. Just kind of an open mic thing, but. There's been more of a comedy growth, like a comedic boom, we'll call it, in Topeka. Do you think things like this help to build that? And what has it done for the comedy scene?
I think, it's been bigger all over Kansas City, Lawrence, and Topeka. I don't know. I guess it's probably that, and isn't there one on TV, something?
Oh, there is a comedy
Like a
sort of a show.
reality show.
It's like a Survivor or
Somebody
something
said
like that.
whenever they have one of those, and about it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Then people seems like there's always this wave, and then people are kind of get weeded out if they're not very good. They quit, or some people are pretty good at it, and they just stop doing it too.
But there's also some people who maybe aren't as good,
Right.
but they just start learning a little bit more. Is that your
get
case?
better gradually. I mean, it's like anything. The more you do it, the better you get.
That kind of ties into my next question that I have for you was...
You're not funny, no.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very
you're
much.
welcome.
You were so wonderful.
You're welcome.
But no, really, when you have different venues and you travel around to different places, and say you're going to, when you're at the Break Room, the people that are there are there for the comedy show.
Right.
Now, a lot of the other venues that are holding stuff, you don't necessarily get people that are just there for the comedy show or say whatever that is. How does that work? You know, what's it like
That's why
going
it's better,
from
I'd say.
extreme to extreme?
That's
do you
why
judge that?
That's why the guys from Lawrence and Kansas City like the break room.
Yeah.
Because it is just set up. Probably Stanford's and Improv they would rank higher, but maybe third would be the break room.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's all set up, the TVs are off, everybody's paying attention.
That's pretty cool.
And plus, the perfect number of people for a show there is about 55 or 60, and that's not that hard to get.
Yeah.
Whereas if you get a bigger room that seats like 200, good luck filling that.
It's gonna, you can't really. If
I
you
mean, you want the room to look kind of full.
Yeah.
It's good because
Well,
people
it's
are
good
there.
ones.
If you go to a bar or something, they have it. It's kind of like, people are usually go there. They don't really care that there's entertainment on
Right.
stage. They're like, get out of the way! I can't see the game.
Oh no, we do tons of shows where there's like 50 people at the bar, and 25 want to watch the comedy, and 25 want to watch the football games.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it doesn't really work too well.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of the guys that started the very first time they walk up on stage. You've been doing this for years. I mean, you've been
4 years.
before this, yeah.
4 years.
And
You're pretty much a professional.
yeah.
Well, I got paid $70 the other day.
Oh,
There you go,
that's
right.
great.
Unless the IRS is paying attention.
We won't tell.
Well, don't you get to deduct all your gasoline and stuff?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So I probably would be still in the negative.
We are here with Karen Hastings. I should have maybe cleared this first.
Love you, Karen.
But we
Love
do.
you. We're not worthy.
I love you both
Yes.
so much. Thank you.
But you're a part of Arts Inc. Is that what
Yes.
it's called?
Yes,
okay.
Arts Inc.
Okay,
is
just
the
wanted to
name of
make
the
sure I
company.
got that correct. Okay, you were actually going to be directing Bluegrass and Mistletoe, but
That's
you
right.
also wrote it.
I wrote this. I wrote the little snippets that connect the songs, and that's what it basically
Yeah.
is.
So what's going on in that head of yours?
Well, I love these characters. These characters came out of Bluegrass and Apple Jam, and they're very dear to me. But the real thing about Bluegrass and Mistletoe is the music and those musicians. Terry Walton, C.C. Yeager, Judd Mason, Jared Cottle, and last but certainly not least, Rick Bixler.
Yeah.
And the 5 of them together go somewhere, do something that is magic. It is, I can't
just
explain
jive.
it. They blend, it's ensemble, I don't know how to express it except they go someplace where as a group that most musicians never reach singly.
You know,
It goes
we
way
just
above,
saw-
bluegrass is one of those musics you're tapping your toes to, you feel good, most of the
Oh,
time.
yeah.
And this is something that really, I think, because of what you were talking about, I got to see it last year. It was sold out before it opened last year.
Right.
It touches more than just tapping your toes.
Yes,
it really
it does.
touches like inside your soul.
Touches your soul,
It really
and
does.
I know that sounds.
I sat there and there were a couple songs, couple moments in the show where I just started to you feel the tear ducts kind of like
Absolutely.
putting out, and you're like, I'm not gonna.
I know.
It's just something is burning in my face.
I know you guys. I go through this. I swear, I
Yeah.
go through this every night, and sometimes they break down because they become a family.
Yeah.
And it's like that business that happens when you're with family, but that you're aware that it's not forever. It can't be forever. Nothing can be forever.
These folks
And so there's-
entertaining have been doing it for a while now.
Yeah, they
several,
have.
just in this particular instance, several years they've been coming together to
Right.
work on these shows, and they really are a family. And
They
I
are.
think they're so. That is so true that the audience is part of their family every single night.
And the audience, I think, really picks up on the fact that they're watching a group. One of them will come up with a musical idea, for instance. And I know because I've heard this music now over and over and over. And they will come up with an idea. They go there, and the rest of them just swoop in right behind and do whatever is necessary to support that it's just, it is magical to watch.
Yeah.
And the thing is, my name is on it. And,
You're like, just go for it.
Just go, keep my name on it. It's not right, but keep my name on it. But they're doing it.
Whether people have any idea about theater or anything, they can attribute it to their own lives. What is it that you love? What is it that you can do to serve others? You know, it's the same thing,
Right,
you know,
right.
and it's just so incredible. So
Thank you.
We love having you on.
Thank you. I love to be on.
Can you come back and join us as always?
Sure.
Okay.
Of course, you all can see Karen's show, the Bluegrass and Mistletoe, happening at the Break Room. Get those tickets at breakroomdowntown.com.
I want to see Judd do the banjo.
Oh, you won't be
Gotta
sorry.
be good. Thank you so much, Karen. We have a special guest today. We have the Gypsy, and we love the hat.
Ain't it great? I love this
Yes.
hat. This is my Christmas hat. See, in case people can't see
In
it, I
case-
got
yes.
the I got
Little
the
mistletoe
decorating
in
thing.
there?
No, not yet. But wait,
Oh,
no,
well,
it's
okay.
Oh, I know.
it's coming soon.
Yeah.
The only guy I know who would wear a mistletoe hat.
I
awesome.
actually got mistletoe that clips to that. So.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Okay, well, we'll be looking forward to seeing that from you. Something that we're going to talk with you about today is the Family Film Festival that you have coming up with Norman the Nutcracker.
Norman the Nutcracker.
Good old Norm. He's back this
my
year.
my buddy.
Yeah,
Yep.
he is back. We're so excited.
Yeah,
He's
I
like
know.
the perfect epitome of Christmas, right?
He's excellent. You know about me and Norman's connection, right?
I don't.
You don't know?
No, you better tell
You're the
me.
only person in
Dun,
Topeka
dun,
that
dun.
don't know.
Maybe I do, and I just am not recalling.
I am writing and illustrating Norman's story.
Okay, I knew that.
It was supposed to be out this year, but unfortunately it's not going to make it this year. It's going to have to wait until next year. So
Okay.
there are things we had to take care of.
Yeah.
Norman
You're
things.
a busy guy.
I'm a busy guy.
I mean,
so.
you are all over the place. I mean, you have come back to this community. You've had ties. You grew up here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But you're super involved with everything. I mean, you get in there and you dig in and you really help out the community.
You have to be involved. If it's your home, you got to take care of your home, right? Mm-hmm. So that's what I do. I take
Well,
care
I
of my
think
home.
you've really jumped in. I think a lot of people live here and this is their home and they don't do as much as you do.
Well, by gosh,
we
maybe if they
appreciate
did
it.
more, I wouldn't have to do so much.
Exactly.
There we go.
Exactly. Well, yeah, we got to get a sign-up list, things to help you out with. But you have the Family Film Festival going on with Norman the Nutcracker.
Yep.
And you're going to have certain films.
Special films.
Special films.
It's going on at
Special
Quincy
films.
Street Conference and Event Center. Yeah.
Quincy Street Conference and Event Center at 707 Southeast Quincy Street. That's right at the corner of 7th and Quincy, so top floor there. Same place we had TopCon at.
Yeah.
These three films are very special films. They haven't been shown together in Topeka since 1968.
Wow.
They were shown every year at the Orpheum Theater in downtown Topeka, which of course everybody knows is no more. They were always shown the last Saturday before Christmas. It was a way for parents to drop their kids
And go
off
shopping.
and go shopping downtown and have their kids occupied for about 2.5 hours or so.
One of the issues that we're dealing with in our community is the the apathy, you know,
Yeah.
and maybe feeling like, this is just not a great city. Why am I going to bother, going out in this city? There's nothing to look forward to, but really there is.
There's
and
a
you're
lot.
showing that there is a lot. And in
There's a
fact, you're
lot.
creating a lot. So,
Yeah.
If it's not there, you create it. That's it. If you take a look around you, anybody can do it. I'm not the only person in the world that can do this. If you take a look around you and you go, what are we missing? What do we need? And don't just say, well, I wish somebody would do that. Be the somebody that does it. If you see that we need it, then do it. As corny as it is.
But it's much easier to complain about not having it than it is
that's
to do
true.
it.
It is.
yeah,
It's a lot easier.
There's work. You're right. You're right. You're
That's
absolutely
a lot
right.
of people like to take the
And
easy
you know what
way.
I just realized? You also do the Kansas History Geeks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're in charge of that Facebook page.
Yeah.
So we have the Topeka History Geeks, but you do the Kansas History Geeks. But it's just, you're able to get all that.
Do you know how many
great-
groups I have?
I know you do have a lot of groups. You do have a lot of groups, but that was just something that hit me,
Yeah.
But, there are so many great things to think about in our community that are so great. And you help to highlight them, and to show them off and make people realize that we should take advantage.
Well, to give credit where credit is due, Marty and Brandon Ryson came up with, from Odd Fellows, Fine Books and Collectibles, they came up with the Topeka History Geeks. okay? That's actually what inspired me to do Kansas History Geeks, because I was like, okay, well, we got Topeka History
gotta go a
Geeks,
little
but
further out.
we got to expand this a little bit out because there's so much, you know? So I created Kansas History Geeks. Again, I was inspired by someone else that saw a need for something and did it. They saw a need for something to explore Topeka's history. They inspired me. I saw a need for something to explore Kansas history.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. You have to inspire. If what I do inspires one person to go out and do something, it's a building block. It's a domino effect.
Well, you do something. You make me want to go get a hat with some mistletoe and
Everybody
stuff
should
on
have.
there.
Everybody should have one of these. I'm telling you. I actually played Ebenezer Scrooge. This is my hat from playing Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh,
They
well,
let
it's wonderful.
me keep it.
I'm so glad that you're wearing it. Making
let
good
me
use
keep
out of it.
Well, if you ever need tips
Absolutely
on how to
perfect.
play Ebenezer Scrooge, Jamie can do that for you. She coaches folks.
If you ever need a co-host that is nice to you, don't ask Chris. Okay?
Do I need to
'Cause he's
show
a
people
jerk
the
face.
the bruises that you put
The
on my
bruises.
shins under the table? Every time I open my mouth, you kick me and say, "Shut up, Chris.
I do.
Shut up,
Shut up,
Chris.
Chris.
Shut up,
Shut up, Chris. Anyway, you're absolutely amazing in this community. And of course, this is a great event going on December 13th. It's the Family Film Festival with Norman the Nutcracker. With Norman!
Norman.
Go out and take a picture and, of course,
Follow
see these
Norman
great
on
movies.
Facebook.
Yeah,
That's a big
follow
thing,
him on
too.
Facebook.
Yeah.
He's on Facebook. It starts. We should tell everybody. It starts at 1 o'clock. $5 donation. Okay, at the door. With that donation, they get popcorn and a drink.
Oh,
And-
gosh,
yeah.
that's a great deal.
Yep, and it's a bring your own chair event.
And also, you can find Family Film Festival with Norman the Nutcracker on Facebook as well.
And please be there.
Yes, please be there. We have Rev Sarah Oglesby Dunegan here with us. We're so excited that you're here, but first off, let's talk a little bit about the fact that you just moved here from
We did.
out of state, which is, I mean, that's kind of a big thing. So tell us about that move and coming here to Kansas.
Well, it was kind of a out of nowhere opportunity, a church that hadn't filled a position that ended up being a really good match for what I was looking for. And they called me in mid-July and we moved 2 weeks later and started school and jobs and just kind of jumped right in. So
You moved from Fort Collins, Colorado.
yes, we did.
Yeah.
Lots of people think we're crazy.
Yeah, because that's such a wonderful place too.
It is. Although I will say that Topeka has lots of really cool, funky, new things that are bubbling up that really make this a community that looked like it would be fun. Love the library, love North Topeka, love First Fridays. I mean, there's lots of things that just really make this a fun community.
She's already in the know. She knows everything. Right, okay, we're going to talk a little bit about your Unitarian Universalist Church. So you moved over here. You're a reverend.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about your job.
Well, it's pretty complicated. Lots of different things that you do. You do Sunday services like most people imagine, but I visit people in the hospital and go to social justice kinds of things. Just yesterday I was with a rally of folks outside the St. John's AME Church to kind of respond to Ferguson and with prayer and hopefulness and possible organizing. And so it's a full of variety. And my first career was in urban community colleges, and I love being with my students, and that was also pretty diverse, but I feel like I have an even wider range of things that I get to do as a pastor. So it's fun. And actually, in the liberal tradition, a lot more women going to seminary than men right now.
Wow.
Like 70 or 80%.
Wow.
Wow.
So
That's incredible.
yeah.
So
pretty.
when you do go to seminary, when you went and you studied for 5 years, what do they just make you read the Bible all day? I don't get it. I want to know though. I want to know. I just don't know.
I did go to a Christian seminary, and so yes, we did that, but we also learned about comparative religion. We learned about pastoral care and how to care for people. You learn about justice issues, and I took classes on environmental justice and LGBTQ justice, and that's a pretty wide range of things. The school that I went to specializes in social justice in general, both for people seeking to be pastors, but also for people seeking to do work in the nonprofit sector in social justice. So a lot of coursework that really looks deeply at how do we make the world a better place for everybody.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, this is maybe controversial for some, but in the wake of this whole Ferguson thing, what needs to happen, from your perspective? What needs to happen to make...
We're going all around the block
I
in
just
this interview.
love it.
Because you had participated in one of the peaceful protests and encouraged, peaceful protesting with this. So, what do you think needs to happen? Like, how does our society need to change?
Well, I'm going to say two pretty controversial things. One is I think gun ownership in the United States needs to go down. One of the reasons that police officers have guns and use them frequently is that a lot of people in the U.S. own guns, and the probability that somebody you're dealing with is going to be carrying a gun is pretty high in this country. Other countries, that's not the case, so they can afford to have officers that aren't armed to the extent that ours are. But I also think the kind of training that police officers get, the sort of militarized training that some communities have, thankfully Topeka has moved towards community policing,
which I work very much with the police department, and I love that.
They're great, and I've heard great things about Topeka's finest. So that makes a difference. But I think the bigger context that we need to be looking at is the context that racism still happens. It's still real. The young men of color don't walk in the world the same way that the rest of us do, and that they may be stopped frequently by police officers in their community. They may be treated differently by their teachers and other people in their community. We've created a kind of hostile environment for young men of color. And so when I look at the Michael Brown situation, even when I'm thinking about what were the facts or did the grand jury this or that, I'm also thinking Michael Brown is just one of many, many, many young men of color who are living in a system that would rather put them in jail than graduate them from high school, and that aren't getting, I think, the fair opportunities to make the best of themselves. And I worked in a community college environment where I worked with many young men of color who became bachelor's degrees and master's degrees and have professional lives, and they have sort of transcended that, but it was hard work. And they had lives of struggle before that.
And it's certainly much harder work than maybe, this is going to sound horrible, but someone like me. You know, when I go through it, maybe even just as a woman, but the fact that I'm white and blonde and I'm able to do this, that's sad, but that is technically...
A lot of people don't think that racism still exists, but you've got to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes to know how it is. Same as a lot of people think that the women don't face prejudice anymore, but you and I can attest to. And to me, it comes down to this simple question. If you were going to be walking in a neighborhood at night by yourself, would you be afraid? And what is the thing you most fear from the majority culture? So if you're a woman, you're going to say, I'm most afraid of physical violence. If you're gay, you're going to say, I'm most afraid of physical violence. And if you're a young man of color, you're going to say, I'm most afraid of physical violence. And in the case of young men of color, perpetrated possibly by someone in authority. So, you know, when we look at that, we don't walk in the same world. And some folks have, you know, multiple ways in which they've been marginalized, so they have multiple things to cause them to walk differently in the world.
But the way that we go about this, you know, because this is such a deep crag that we're in that we really don't know how to get ourselves out of it, you know, but the way that we can is through love and through participation with other people and, you know, and working in other communities and helping other people out. And it sounds so easy, but it's just not that easy.
Well, it takes a commitment, and it takes having ongoing relationship. You said that you've been reaching out to students at Eisenhower, and I think that's exactly the kind of thing that I was encouraging folks to do yesterday was, you know, look at middle schoolers in your community. What could you be doing to help them? Because that's the age that they generally start to really struggle, to really bump into problems. So what can you be doing to mentor, to support teachers, to support schools, to support services that are working with young people? What can you do to have deeper relationship with people in your own community? And, you know, I liked what Reverend Tobias Schlingensieben said was, there's a divide in Topeka. You know, he referred to Kansas Avenue as kind of a divide in our community, a racial divide and also an economic divide, and that we need to be reaching across that divide and knowing people that are different from us, people who have more or less money than us, people who look different than us, people who speak different language than us, and to create real lasting relationship and commitment to the betterment of all. In Africa, they say, if you are well, I am well, which really says that my well-being is tied up in your well-being. And I really pray that that's the kind of attitude that we'll begin to develop when we work together, because I'm not well if you're not well.
Right.
And that goes for anybody in my community.
You know, we have work to do until we can look at people as people.
Right.
You know, until we can, you know, stop identifying them or even putting them down or putting ourselves above some other people because of certain traits or whatever it is. You know, the ideal world that we live in is that everybody is equal, exactly the way that our Constitution is set up. Until we're there, we have work to do.
Right. Right. Yeah. And human rights means all humans.
Yeah. And if you're
we get
fighting
lost.
for someone else's rights, you're fighting for your own rights.
Exactly.
That's exactly how it turns out.
Yeah.
I wish that you could come and talk to me every single day, because this was such a wonderful.
I live close. We can have coffee.
This was really a fulfilling talk, and we only talked for a few minutes, but still, it was, that's something we need to hear in our community, and we need to hear more people talking about this. And it could be anyone, anyone that you hang out with. You don't have to be a reverend to be able to talk about these things, but these things are very important, and we do have a great community. So.
We do. I'm excited to be here. So.
Yes.
Welcome aboard.
New Kansan.
Thank you so
Nice
much
to
for
meet you
joining us.
both.
We'd love to have you in Topeka. You're amazing.
Visit talkabouttopeka.com to hear full interviews of all our guests. Listen live